Come, sit here. Today we want to cover your nakedness. Yes, cover your nakedness is the theme of our conversation today. We are on part 5 of homeownership for financial security. It's a series of 6 videos, and if you're here for the first time, I encourage you to go back and watch the first 4, I think, the first 4 that we have already released in this series. And as you do that, please remember to subscribe, to share, to comment, to hit that like button. Please just hit that like button and keep and comment and tell me how, if these videos are, if you're learning anything from this video. So again, I welcome you. And if you're here for the first time and you do not know this person, my name is Lucy Gedaiga. I am a personal financial wellness coach. I work with women to support them to take charge of their financial future by helping them to see how they can organize their money. So there are 2 things that I run on this channel. One, I run Friday, what we would call a finance Friday. So we talk all things money on Fridays, like what we are doing today. And then on Wednesdays, we have a Bible study. And that Bible study, we are currently going through a ride through Genesis. So taking the book of Genesis and going through that and seeing what lessons can we draw, what is it that we're hearing from the Word of God. And because I am a financial coach, I also look at what financial lesson, what success principles can we find from the Bible that we can continue to sort of integrate in our financial lives, and of course generally in our lives as we continue to grow. So, by the way, there is a playlist called the 7 Steps of Financial Freedom. It's a 3-part series. I encourage you to go there, watch, and then of course this one, and of course all the other videos. By the way, I have talked about myself in a number of videos, and the reason why I do what I do because I am very passionate about people who are in employment and who need to begin to organize their financial life in a different way. Why? Because I was there and I didn't do it. I was there. I had a whole, more than a decade of doing what I call prepare or dance, doing things that were not necessarily useful for my financial journey. But I learned my lessons and I decided it is important for me to help people who are in employment so that they can reorganize and learn to take charge of their financial life. So today, I welcome you. Today, we are going to be talking about something called covering your nakedness. Remember, this is part 5 of home ownership for financial security. We have in this series, we have talked about the importance of video number 1, importance of having a home ownership, importance of home ownership. And then we also explored and asked ourselves, is it really possible to have a home? And I said, yes, it is possible to have a home. And I gave you examples. And then we also, I think in the 3rd video, we were talking about how can you have a loan? How can you own a home using the route of getting a SACCO loan? And we did some mathematics over there and we came to the conclusion that indeed it is possible. And then video number 4, we were looking at what happens during your loan repayment season. And so today I am talking about covering your nakedness. So what does that mean? Many people in employment, they walk around naked. Imagine they walk around naked, financially speaking. They walk around naked, financially speaking, because they have this thing of, after all, I have a salary. I have a salary, so even if anything comes, I can always borrow, or I can always, the comfort of having a salary is a very false comfort. I will remind you, it's a very false comfort. And therefore, because you are in that false comfort, it's very easy for you to walk naked. And what do I mean when I say walking naked? Walking naked is where you really are not doing anything to sort of cover yourself for that day when things can go dark. And by the way, things can go dark. I have shared in one of the videos where I don't remember whether it's in this series of the homeownership, but anyway, in one of the videos I know I have shared a time when I came, there was a dark season. I went to work on a Tuesday and by Thursday I had no job. Going to work, coming to work on Tuesday, and by Thursday you're told, please close your things and go. So many of us walk around naked and we never quite plan and organize for that time or for that season when things could sort of not go the way we anticipate. And then life happens. Life happens, my brothers and sisters. Life happens. So we are talking about covering your nakedness. And when we say about covering your nakedness, remember, we are still in this season of home ownership for financial security. And so last week we were talking about what to do during your loan repayment season. And we said you can either, increase your income depending on what you're able to do to increase your income, but also we said that you can also reduce your expenses. Now, today we are then asking ourselves, when we have succeeded in increasing our expenses, because last week we were talking about when you increase your expenses, it means that you are able to actually fast track your own repayment so that your own repayment either runs on schedule or before, in terms of you're able to complete your own repayment earlier. So what today we are asking ourselves, assuming you have been successful in two things. You've been successful in having ways of earning an extra income. And we said that in this season of loan repayment, the possibility of earning an income, you are looking at possibilities or doing things that are not capital intensive or things that do not necessarily require any capital. Like, for example, using your own skills to make money. And those ways are there. Or starting a business that is not capital intensive, whatever that is, or whichever other ways, seeking promotion at work, or whatever other ways that you're able to actually move from your current income level to the next income level, or earn, some extra shillings. And so today we are asking ourselves, when you earn those extra shillings, there was a bit of challenge with the light. When you earn those extra shillings, what then happens? What do you do with the extra money that you're earning? We are saying cover your nakedness. And the way to cover your nakedness is to say that, for example, you do not have an emergency fund. Okay? You do not have an emergency fund. And remember, you are in employment. And because you are in employment, employment huisha. We say employment can come to an end abruptly or whichever. Things can happen and you find yourself not having a job, and yet you have this loan that you're paying. So how are you going to cover your nakedness? We are saying we will cover our nakedness by first ensuring that two things. If you are earning, if you have made possibilities, or you have managed to come to a conclusion that you are able to actually make an extra money, well and good, congratulations for that. Or in the alternative, if you have been able to look at your expenses and decided and seen how you can release some of your money by ensuring that you're reducing your expenses. Okay, so those are the two ways in which we are able to actually put more money in the table: reducing expenses or making more money. So now let's assume we have been able to be successful in either of the two ways, or in the two ways for that matter. We now have more money in our hands, and we are faced with the decision of, do I use this money to fast track my loan repayment so that it can, the loan can be completed earlier, or what do I do? And I am saying there you can consider two things. One of the things that you can consider, yes, you might say that with this money that I have, I can split part of it and commit it to loan repayment so that I can sort of fast track the loan repayment quicker. Because remember, you are in employment. You may not necessarily have you do not necessarily have the luxury of just zubaying there. I mean, you are on someone's time. By the way, yes, you are on someone's time, and so it's important. Now, the other money, that is where now we say, now we need to start covering our nakedness. And covering our nakedness is what is in my view, a situation which says that I need to start building my emergency fund. Okay, I need to start using this extra money to start building my emergency fund. And the reason for building my emergency fund is so that even if anything happens, I am not going to run to take other loans to meet that emergency. We all know, we all come from this country of ours called Kenya, and in fact, in many other countries, even in the African continent, we know that many people are debt trapped. The reason why you get debt trapped is because many times you're not necessarily planning properly. Now, so if you then make a plan and begin to commit part of the extra money to build your emergency fund, what you're doing is that in the event that an emergency comes, you will not get into a debt to meet that emergency. Now, you know that many of our SACCOs have that thing called emergency. Now, if you're already doing loan repayment, for example, and then you get into an emergency, and then you have to take another loan. What that means is that you will now begin to feel the pressure of the loan repayment for the home, plus the loan repayment for these emergencies that you did not necessarily work around. And that's why we are saying it is important to cover your nakedness. And covering your nakedness is, that extra money, let's release it to go and build an emergency fund that allows us to have expenses, our expenses of between 6 to 12 months put away in, let's say, a money market fund, so that we know that we have, remember, we are talking about financial security. We are still at the foundational level and we are talking about financial security. What that means is that at the end of the day, you are able to say, and by the way, when you are computing your expenses, you are also computing your own repayment as part of your expenses. Why? In the event that you lost your job, you still want to be able to, make sure that you're meeting your loan repayment process, because remember, you're taking this loan from a SACCO. You don't want to put your guarantors in trouble, and in where they have to surrender their money because you messed yourself up, or you didn't necessarily work through the mathematics properly. So if you have been able to sort of build an emergency fund of, say, 6 to 12 months of your expenses, including the amount that you're doing for loan repayment, then you have a bit of a breath, you have a bit of a season or a time. In the event that you lost your job, you still are able to commit and pay your own repayment. At the same time, it gives you a bit of time to now think about, okay, what is the next step? What can I do? At least for a few months before you think, or you sort of transition into the next thing. Now, I know that some people might say, really? Yes, I am telling you, really. Yes, really. That is the ladder of financial security. And, you can argue until the cows come home. But the truth is, if you are in employment, there are certain things that you need to take care of, because you are not, your money, you are waiting for your money until the end of the month. You're not earning necessarily money that is coming into your to your hands on a regular basis. It's very programmed. It's known, this is when it comes. And we don't want to walk around naked. Let me tell you, I walked around naked for a very long time. And me, I was earning a high income. Me, I was a country director, my friends. I was not just Nini. I was big woman. Big woman, commanding some big monies at my place of work in terms of the programs that I was managing. But I walked around naked. And the reason I was walking around naked is because I did not take financial literacy seriously. I did not understand the game of money. I did not understand. So I was just walking around and doing that kipepeo dance. Can I tell you, and can I shock you? Whereas I had a very good income in terms of my salary, there was a time, if I had an emergency of 10,000 shillings, I would have to do an M-Shwari loan. Hey, I come from Nyeri. I would have to do an M-Shwari loan for me to meet that emergency. Never mind that I was earning a high income. Why? I was walking around naked. Okay, and by the way, I was doing some loan repayments, and all the loan repayments that I was doing were just for businesses. Generally, businesses that didn't go well, businesses that were not well thought out, businesses that I was not wired for. And it's all because I didn't even have the possibility of saying I can hire a coach who can guide me and help me to, sort of know. Because the time on my 47th birthday, when I decided, you know what, I need help. The time I told myself I need help, that is when help came. And that's when I began to shape and to focus and to organize myself in a better way. Today I am not in employment, and yet, and it only took me about 3 years to sort of organize myself and say, okay, you know what, even if things happened in my place of work, I am able to come out and continue doing what I need to do. So the point is, but you don't get to that step until you have also been able to build certain elements around your financial security. It's not, you don't just jump like this. Please don't get it twisted. It's not a jump like this. And I am telling you, it is about planning and systematic planning. And so that systematic planning is what is the journey that we are on. Is the journey that we are on, so that you can continue to sort of learn and help yourself and see how best to organize your life, so that you do not start crying here when you have no job, or when you have lost your job and you can't think straight and you can't do whatever it is that you're able to do. So, friends, cover your nakedness. Please don't walk around naked. Even when the fact that you're paying for your you're doing your home repayment loan is not an excuse for you to walk around naked. I have already told you in the last video. And if you're landing here for the first time, please look for those other videos so that, because mambo, me, I like being systematic. And I told you, me, I like being practical. Me, I don't like ideals. No. Practical, my friends, practical is what helps us. Because, by the way, if I had been practical, if I had not been idealizing, kukaa pale ideal nafunga macho, I idealize. If I had not done that, if I had sat down to be more practical, I wouldn't have made the mistakes that I made with money. Okay, so I want to catch you before you make those mistakes. So stay with me until next Friday. Let's keep it here. Again, I remind you, go to this channel. It's full of things. The Wednesday Bible study. Go listen. Here, come, listen. And please don't be mean. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Those things. Just be there. Then we can continue to work on. And next Friday, we will be tackling the final part 6 of this series. And part 6 will be hurrah. We are done. So we'll be looking at finally the final run after we are completed with this series of homeownership. I really hope. By the way, when I started this series, my desire was that I would encourage somebody to actually determine themselves and decide and say, yes, I am going to own a home. Because I said, those people who have owned homes, they don't have 2 noses. They have 1 nose. They have 2 ears. They have 1 tongue. They are just like you. So I really hope that I've encouraged a couple of you here to actually make a decision to own a home and to know that it is not really a far-fetched dream, and to also appreciate it is part of your financial security. It's part of building your foundation. And remember, if you're a business person here, me, I respect you and thank you. However, this information goes to people who are in employment and even for you who is in business. By the way, if you are the kind of people who have no, you don't own a business system that can outlast you, outlive you. You are just running a business. This one of owning a job, having a job and owning a job. Even you need this information. Even you need to sort out your financial security maneno. So I hope it has helped you. Until next Friday, cheers. Let's keep it here. Thank you. Asante sana.